What's up guys, Daniel Alameda of the Right Way Sports Network here with one of my favorite videos I've ever done. Today we got for you the top 30 wide receivers in the 2020 NFL Draft Class, and this is a video I've put quite some time into. The past 2 to 3 months I've spent evaluating all these prospects. I've been watching film, doing my due diligence with all these guys, and I've pretty much come to my conclusion on this draft class. And before I get into this, I advise you guys, please comment down below your thoughts. I know I'm not perfect, and I advise you guys, if you have a strong opinion, something you feel strongly about, comment down below and help me out. Tell me what I'm not seeing. I advise you guys to go back and watch the film on these prospects and tell me what I'm not seeing. That will help me out so much. So please, guys, go do that for me. But here's my way of evaluating prospects, just so I give you guys a little bit of background. Immediately when I see a prospect, I watch 3 games, full games of footage. You can find them on YouTube, typically around 10 minutes long. And the reason I watch footage over highlights is because you can see the little tendencies that each player plays with. You can see the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, how quickly they get off the line of scrimmage. You can see their separation and breaks. You can see if they're a slot receiver, if they're an outside receiver. You can see what doesn't show up on the stat sheet. Film, I'm telling you guys, film is always overproduction. So I watch 3 games of full film. I look over some guys online. I see their scouting reports. I see what I've missed. And then after I write down my pros and cons, my scouting report, I go back and watch one more full game of film to see what I missed and to finalize my evaluation. So that's my process. I'm telling you guys, when I tell you guys about all these guys, I've watched them. I know how they play. And I would like to believe I know how they'll translate to the NFL. But without much further ado, let's get right into it. Let me tell you guys a couple of I'd like to say the senior superlatives, if you will. Best hands in the draft, James Prosche out of SMU. Best routes, Juedy out of Alabama. Best speed, Henry Ruggs out of Alabama. Most overhyped, I think it is KJ Hill out of Ohio State. And the biggest sleeper I have, there's a ton, I'll get into them, I think is Jeff Thomas out of Miami. So without much further ado, let's get right into it. Number 1, Ceedee Lamb out of Oklahoma, and for me, this is undisputed. He may not have the speed, the athleticism, or the route running of the Jerry Judys or Henry Ruggs of the world, but he's going to step in immediately to an NFL franchise and be a number 1 receiver. I'm so confident in this, and when I watch film, he reminds me so specifically of one player in the NFL, DeAndre Hopkins. And if you think DeAndre Hopkins, you know that's a sure-handed, great body control, adjusts exceptionally well in midair, and can catch any ball that your quarterback throws. And that is why Ceedee Lamb is my number 1 receiver, because he will be a number 1 receiver in the NFL. Number 2, Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama, and this may be controversial for some of you, but it really isn't. When you turn on the film, you see more than a one-dimensional receiver. He is not just a speed guy. He can run any route in the route tree. His release off the line of scrimmage is great. His quickness in and out of blocks is great, or in and out of routes is great, and his ability to gain separation is very underrated. Listen, he will not be a number 1 receiver in the NFL, but he will be a great, and when I mean great complement to another number 1 receiver. He will be used as a weapon in the screen game, in the quick slant game, and he will be used to threaten defenses down the field. Because if you don't have a safety over top, you best put one over top. Number 3, Jerry Jeudy, Alabama. Listen, by no means whatsoever am I saying he's going to be a terrible receiver in the NFL. I just have him below the other 2, and here is why. You know what you're getting. You're getting an all-world route runner, an all-world elusive, guy who can put guys on skates. But he struggles with physicality. That's the bottom line. At the line of scrimmage, he struggles with physicality. In and out of breaks, he struggles with physical corners. And after the catch, he struggles with physicality. Not saying it's going to hinder him in any way in the NFL. He's still going to be a very effective receiver, but he does not have the potential that these other 2 have because of the lack of physicality, and his hands are not as good as the other 2. He had 8 drops, 8 over the middle of the field in this past year, and for me, that just doesn't fly, and that is why I have him at number 3. Number 4, Justin Jefferson out of LSU. He's got the body of an outside receiver, but he's going to be playing mostly in the slot where he can use his route running to his advantage. The reason he can use his route running more in the slot than in the outside is because he's got the two-way goes. When you're in the slot, you can go outside or inside, and Justin Jefferson is one of the best route runners in this draft, so that's why he's mostly in the slot, and he's reliable. Very reliable hands. Joe Burrow's favorite target at LSU. He caught everything, and that's what you're getting. You're getting a reliable receiver in the slot who can day one produce for you. Route running is great, and he's got sure hands. Number 5, Jalen Reagor from TCU, and there was some cause for concern after his combine. He showed up about 15 pounds heavier. He ran a very slow 40-yard dash time, but people were overreacting. Go back and watch the film, and he showed up about, I want to say 2 weeks later to his pro day, and he was fine. He was back to his normal weight, and he ran almost a 4.3 40-yard dash. So people are overreacting. When you watch the film, very quick receiver. He's a weapon in the slot, weapon on the outside. Doesn't have the best hands, but like I said, you're getting a fast receiver, a playmaker, an explosive playmaker. I take him in the first round easily. Number 6, Denzel Mims from Baylor University, and he's one of my favorite receivers in this draft. I loved him pre-combine, pre-Senior Bowl. I did a film review actually on him, using a little time to self-promote. Don't click off here. Go check out my film review of Denzel Mims, 10 minutes. I went in-depth on his route running, in-depth on everything. Make sure you guys go check that out. But quick rundown, he's an X receiver, meaning he's going to be playing on the boundary, not on the inside. Think of a DK Metcalf, think of a Josh Gordon almost. And the thing about him, he has a large catch radius. He's most effective in the red zone, put up a ton of highlight plays. And people like to say he runs terrible routes. They're not terrible, but they're also not exceptional by any means. He needs to work on his hands a little bit when they're not highlight reels, when they're just the easy, quick slants. But he's got great speed. In high school, he was a 200-meter-yard dash champion in track, so he's got the long speed. And he's got the potential to be a number 1 receiver on the outside. I love Denzel Mims. Number 7, KJ Hamler out of Penn State. I have him going early second round. He's an exceptional route runner in the slot. He's not going to be outside by any means. Only 5'9", 170 pounds. But exceptional route runner in the slot. He's an absolute playmaker. All over his film, there's plays where very quick slant, 2-yard slant, and he took it to the house. He very shifty after the catch. Explosive. He can be used in end arounds. Like I said, he's going to be specifically a slot player in the NFL, but he's an explosive playmaker. Number 8, Brandon Aiyuk out of Arizona State. I went back and forth on Aiyuk a lot. I really did. At first, I had him as my number 14 ranked receiver, but after watching, I'm telling you guys, if you guys comment down below, I'm using this time, comment down below a guy you see that I don't like or a guy that I like too much, tell me what is wrong. But Brandon Aiyuk, I went back and watched the film. He's a playmaker. That's the bottom line. Brandon Aiyuk is a playmaker. He is not the most refined in the route running situations. He's not the most refined with his hands, but he's got the potential. He's got the ability to do it. He's made some great grabs, but he's also made some very, very, very simple drops, concentration drops. So that's what scares me. But he's a playmaker. He's 6'1". He used in great punt returner, great kick returner. Like I said, he's just a playmaker. Number 9, T. Higgins, Clemson University. He started off the year as a top 3 receiver in the class, but he quickly fell down draft boards. The main reason for this is the lack of separation he gains in and out of routes, and he doesn't really explode in and out of breaks either. But to me, that's not really that big of an issue. What you're getting is an X receiver, like Denzel Mims, a guy who can play on the boundary and who can go up and grab the 50-50 balls. His ability to high point the football is great. He came from a basketball background. His hands are great. He's able to make the tough grabs. He's able to make the back shoulder grabs, the grabs on the sideline. That is what T. Higgins is. He's the guy who's going to go up and grab the 50-50 balls. But like I said, the separation is not there for T. Higgins. Number 10, Michael Pittman Jr., USC. He's a very physical receiver who will immediately translate to the NFL. His biggest knocks are the lack of quickness and the lack of speed, so that means he most likely won't become a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, but he has the looks of a productive wide receiver too right away. He uses his body to bully defenders. He's a very reliable pass catcher with very sticky hands. He can make the over-the-shoulder grabs on the sideline similar to a T. Higgins. And you're getting a reliable receiver who has the physical traits to succeed. And like I said, or I don't know if I mentioned this, his father was in the NFL as well, so he understands how to work the NFL game. Number 10, Laviska Shenault. He is a playmaker, like the Jalen Reagors, like the KJ Hamlers of the world. He's a playmaker, but he's a little bit different. He's not 5'9" like KJ Hamler. He is 6'2". He is built like a running back, and the way he plays is almost like a running back. His after the catch, he isn't shifty, but he uses his strength and power to overpower defenders. He's not the most refined receiver. There's a lot of times when on film he shows the lack of efforts when running routes. When the ball's not going his way, he doesn't finish his route. He's not a willing blocker, and he's had a lengthy injury history. But he's a playmaker. If you want a playmaker on your team, you draft Laviska Shenault, but you have to design a play specifically for him. At Colorado, there was a lot of design plays just for him, design touches, but he's not a refined receiver at all. He can run down the field and create a ton of penalties and passing interference, but I'm not sold on him as a surefire receiver yet. Number 12, Tyler Johnson from Minnesota. Those of you who know me know I love Tyler Johnson. He's one of my favorite players in the draft. I've seen in different rankings, he's ranked as the 25th best receiver. He's ranked to go in the 6th round, in the 5th round. I think that's complete BS. He is a 3rd round talent, 3rd or 4th round talent. He's a very reliable receiver. He doesn't get the hype he deserves because he's a middle of the road. He's not flashy. He doesn't have elite athleticism. He doesn't create elite separation. But he was graded the best receiver by PFF in 2019. He's very consistent. His hands are great. His ability to adjust midair is great. Just his receiving skills are great. And that's why when you look at the tape, when I look at the tape, I see a guy who's going to produce day one. You can rely on this guy. Number 13, Van Jefferson from Florida University. He is arguably the best route runner in the draft besides Jerry Judy, but he's being slept on, guys. A couple reasons are he's already 24, so I understand physically he's already maxed out. He's already capped out. And he also suffered an injury during the pre-draft process, so he wasn't able to showcase his talents enough. But when you turn on the film, guys, oh my God, you see things. One main thing that NFL scouts salivate over, ability to create separation. And he did it on a high level. He thrives in the slot on the outside and is very quick slant routes. And he did it in 3 straight reps against college football's best cornerback, Derek Stingley Jr. In 3 straight reps, he beat Derek Stingley Jr. on quick slants. Quick slants, stop and goes. Van Jefferson beat him, plain and simple. He doesn't have the greatest hands, but just his ability to create separation is salivating enough, and it's attractive enough to take him in the 3rd and 4th round. Number 14, Bryan Edwards, South Carolina. Toughness. When you turn on the film, that's the thing that comes to mind, toughness. Immediately, after the catch, as soon as he grabs that ball, he is so hard to bring down. It takes often 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys to bring him down. And just his ability to create the extra 3, the extra 4, the extra 5 yards, it entices me. If I'm an NFL GM, I want that guy on my team. He was the leading receiver at South Carolina. He was used all over the formation, on the outside, in the slot, in the quick slant game, in the screen game, in the reverse game. Very versatile, and like I said, tough. But his only knock is he doesn't have the best hands. He often double clutched a lot. He didn't have the best hands over the middle. But like I said, he's a reliable receiver. If he can refine his catching ability, his route running solid, his speed it's manageable. It's manageable. But like I said, if he can tone down, if he can refine his catching ability, he is going to be a playmaker for any NFL franchise. Number 15, Donovan PeoplesJones out of Michigan. Very tough evaluation here. One of the toughest evaluations I had. He was a 5-star recruit out of high school. At the combine, he tested great. He was first in the broad jump, first in the vertical jump, and tested great in the 40-yard dash. So he has all the athletic ability there. But at Michigan, he didn't put out the best film. He was very underused, whether that's the system's fault, the quarterback's fault. He just didn't put out the best film. He made some wild plays where he really extended his body. He's got a very large catch radius. He's kind of an explosive playmaker. But to me, just a tough evaluation. Here, you're just betting on his athletic ability, and you're betting that a coach can morph him, can form him into a solid receiver. He has the ability there. Just now, it's up to the NFL coach and the NFL roster to shape him. Number 16, Jeff Thomas, Miami University. He's one of my guys, my favorite players in this draft, and I can't figure out why people don't like him. Scouts are saying it's because of the character issues, and I get that. He was kicked off the Miami football team, but he was brought back on after. And when you're drafting in the 4th or 5th round, you have to take a risk. Take a risk on his character issue. I don't care. When you look at the film, when you look at the talent, it is all there. Punt returns, kick returns, reverse game, in the slot, on the outside, makes the explosive grabs, makes the one-handed grabs, makes the acrobatic grabs. He's very agile, very shifty after the catch. What is there not to love about him? As a football player, he's one of the best players, pure talent-wise, 5-star recruit out of high school. Pure talent-wise in this draft, I'm taking a risk on him in the early 4th, 5th round. Number 17, Colin Johnson, Texas University. Heading into the season, he was an undisputed top 10 receiver in this class, and I don't know why he's fallen down draft boards. He was one of the most exciting film studies in this entire class. He's the tallest receiver in this class. He's 6'6", but he made a ton, and when I mean a ton of gorgeous grabs in his career. He made sideline grabs. He made one-handed grabs. He has tremendous body control. He adjusts mid-air, is a red zone target. What is there not to like? He's very smooth in his route running. For a 6'6" guy, at the Senior Bowl, he showed his route running off. He's very smooth, very savvy. His ability to break quickly in and out of routes is very underrated for being 6'6". And guys, I strongly advise you to hop on the train. He will be an effective receiver right away. Listen, he may not be the quickest receiver because he's 6'6", but his body control in the air, his ability to make these gorgeous grabs, that's enticing. I'm picking him in the 4th round. I love Colin Johnson here. Number 18, Devin Duvernay, Texas University. When I say this man is fast, I mean he is fast. In high school, he was a state champion in track, and in the NFL, he's going to be playing predominantly in the slot. He had a ton of breakaway plays in college because of his speed, but he also uses his size to his advantage. His size meaning he is a bowling ball. Very tough, very strong, and he uses physical toughness to gain the extra 3, extra 4 yards after the catch. The main weakness with Devin Duvernay is his route running. Not a refined route runner at all. Never faced press coverage in college, so physicality at the line of scrimmage is one of his weaknesses. So that's why I'm a little scared and hesitant to put him up in the 3rd round where a lot of draft analysts have him. But he really needs to become a refined route runner because he has the speed, he has the toughness, but he just has to be able to create the separation, and I haven't seen that from him yet. But his hands are great, able to go outside his frame and catch the ball. Hands are great, just got to see more route running ability out of him. Number 19, Chase Claypool from Notre Dame, and here is where I receive my hate messages. Don't get me wrong, Chase Claypool is a very versatile player. He can play on the boundary, he can play in the slot, he can play tight end. So I love that about him, his versatility. But when you tell me he's 6'4" and ran a 4.42 40-yard dash, am I supposed to love that right away? No. When I watch the film, I see a lack of separation in and out of his routes. I see the lack of a strong, quick release at the line of scrimmage. He's not able to evade press coverage right away, and that's the facts. When you look at the film, press coverage, he can't use his speed until he gets going. Once he gets going, he is fast, but not right away, and that's why I think he should be more of a big slot receiver. He should be more of a tight end. I think he's a great versatility chess piece, but if you're expecting him to be your X receiver, which means the boundary, the big man receiver, you're not expecting anything more out of a red zone target. Don't get me wrong, like DK Metcalf proved a ton of people wrong, but his release at the line of scrimmage is way better than Chase Claypool's. I think Claypool should move towards the tight end, towards the big slot position. He's a dominant red zone option, but I don't see him as an outside receiver that is constantly winning. I'm not taking him in the 2nd round. Number 20, Quintez Cephas out of Wisconsin University. Quintez, he comes from a basketball background, and that really shows in his film. He has great body control in the air. He is a master of adjusting in the mid-air. And as you guys know, I love players who can adjust mid-air, players who show they're pure receivers. Because the bottom line, a receiver has to be willing to catch the ball and make the big plays. Quintez Cephas, he struggles at times with the occasional easy drops, but otherwise he has very strong hands. He has very underrated long speed, but he lacks the quickness, the quick agility skills. I think he's going to be a very solid receiver. I'm taking him in the 4th or 5th round. Number 21, Isaiah Hodgins, Oregon State. Listen, when you're drafting in the 4th and 5th round, you're drafting for potential, and Isaiah Hodgins has all of that. He is 6'4", and he just really has a natural feel for tracking the ball in the air, perfect timing in his jumps, and made some acrobatic grabs all throughout his college career. He not only can he make the acrobatic grabs, he is a true technician in his route running. His footwork is great, and really he's a refined route runner. I'm drafting Isaiah Hodgins for the potential. He has all the talent and all the potential. He's just got to be coached up a little bit. And his main true weaknesses is his quickness. That's the bottom line. His quickness off the line of scrimmage, it's not there. That's the bottom line. It's not there. He has great hands, but he lacks the separation quickness to really gain great separation. But like I said, I'm drafting in the 4th round. I'm drafting the guy who can make the acrobatic grabs, can make the great grabs on the sideline, and a guy who has sure hands. And that, my friends, is Isaiah Hodgins. Number 22, Quartney Davis, Texas A&M. The name of the game with him is route running. That is the bottom line. That is his bread and butter. Route running in the middle of the field. He is 6'1" and is going to be playing more of the big slot role in the NFL. But like I said, his bread and butter is route running. His release off the line of scrimmage is great. He's able to quickly shake off defenders, and he's able to find the soft spot in the zone. He doesn't really have the most plucky hands, but his hands are doable. Very savvy after the catch. Doesn't have the most top-end speed, but he's one of the guys who really attracts me because there's nothing exceptional about him. Nothing really entices me, but he's reliable. That's what I love about him. He's a very reliable, complimentary 3rd or 4th receiver. Number 23, Jauan Jennings, Tennessee. One of my favorite receivers in this draft by far because he's hated on because he severely lacks quickness and severely lacks speed. But what he does after the catch is phenomenal. He uses his strength to his advantage. Very strong receiver, and he played in the SEC, the best conference in college football, and defenders really struggled to bring him down. He just refused to go down as a ball carrier and created always 4 to 5 extra yards after the catch. What he does as an actual receiver is also great as well. Like I said, isn't quick, but he uses his strength to his advantage. Great in contested catch situations, and he has strong hands. Very reliable receiver, so you don't have to worry about that. I think he's going to be a productive receiver in the NFL. Number 24, Austin Mack. Listen, I'm going to put some respect on his name. Not many people put respect on his name because he played at Ohio State. He played with a great receiver group, Terry McLaurin, Paris Campbell, KJ Hill, all these guys. And in a recent interview, he said he didn't really get to show his full potential. Another thing I love from that interview is he said he's going to easily contribute on special teams. He loves that. He loves the grit and grind. And if I'm picking the 5th and 6th round, I want a guy like that. When I watch film, he's 6'1", plays on the outside, but he makes some great grabs, strong hands, and is a very solid route runner. Isn't weak in that. Not the fastest, but I think he's a reliable receiver. I love him here at 24. Number 25, James Prosche from SMU. I mentioned him earlier, best hands in the draft, but he's a very interesting evaluation, very difficult for me. Best hands in the draft, caught everything, made some of the best catches in the entire draft class. One-hand grabs, sideline grabs, diving grabs. At the Senior Bowl, he really took off because of his hands, but that's about it. That's the reason it's so tough, because his separation, it's nowhere to be found. He leaves a lot on the table when we're talking about how are you going to succeed as a route runner in the NFL. He projects to be a slot receiver in the NFL, so that's why it's tough. Leaves a lot on the table, doesn't create separation at all, relies too heavily on his contested catch situations, but I'm taking him solely because of his hands. If you're a receiver, you have to be able to catch the ball. James Prosche, that's for damn sure. You can catch the ball. Number 26, Quez Watkins from Southern Miss. Very interesting evaluation here. Not a lot of film on him, but from the scouts I've heard talk about him, they've all said very intriguing prospect. And what I've seen acrobatic grabs. I've seen a guy who has the potential, has the ability to succeed in the NFL. Now he just needs coaching. Now he just needs the really time to put in the work in the offseason. Quez Watkins, 6'1", he's got the potential. Made acrobatic grabs, and really he took off at the combine after he had the 3rd best 40-yard dash time. So we know he has the speed. We know he has the athleticism. We've just got to see him perform on a high level. He struggled against the top competition in college, but like I said, a team will easily take a chance on him in the 5th or 6th round. Number 27, I'm going to get hate for this as well. Gabriel Davis, UCF. A lot of people say he should be higher. I strongly disagree here. I'd be okay with taking him in the 5th to 6th round more likely, just because then you're really betting on traits, and that's all I really have with Gabriel Davis. He's got the height, he's got the weight, he's got the speed. So you know everything's there athletically, but the film leaves a lot to be desired. His hand technique is his catching technique's bad. That's the bottom line. A lot of wide open grabs he missed. If you draft him, you're basically expecting him to be your X receiver. Like I said, your boundary receiver, the guy you can basically you rely on to beat a guy one-on-one. You can't rely on Gabriel Davis. His routes aren't there. He's not able to create separation. He's just not a great route runner, and he doesn't have great hands. So I just don't see the hype with Gabriel Davis. Number 28, Antonio Gandy-Golden, Liberty University, jump ball receiver. That's the first thing that comes to mind. When you watch this film, you see he's going up against not the best competition, but you're seeing him get double teamed, and your quarterback, when your quarterback is throwing the ball up to you, when you're double teamed, triple teamed, that means you're doing something decent. His ability to adjust midair is great. His ability hit just very strong hands. His ability, very plucky gloves, is just like, you can rely on him in the red zone. He is a red zone threat, but his separation is terrible. Creates no separation at the line of scrimmage. His release is terrible. You're just betting on him being your red zone target. You're betting on him being your jump ball guy. He's a jump ball specialist. That's the bottom line. Number 29, KJ Hill, Ohio State. And here is where I receive my hate messages. Listen, I tried liking KJ Hill because I watched a ton of film on him. He's a great route runner. He's very shifty after the catch, but that's it. That's it. There's nothing to be excited about. He's a below average athlete, doesn't have speed. He's very inconsistent hands. If I'm drafting a guy with great route running, he's got to be able to have hands, but he's not able to go up and high point the ball because of his very small catch radius, and he lets a lot of balls come to his chest. He's not able to fully extend his body. He lets a lot come to his chest, and he just lacks the receiving skills needed to succeed. He's a great route runner. I just don't see him succeeding in the NFL. Number 30, or Mr. Irrelevant, Joe Reed out of Virginia. Listen, the main thing that I love about Joe Reed is his ability to contribute on special teams. When you're picking a guy this late, you either want potential or a guy who can play everywhere. And his coaches at Virginia raved about his ability to do everything. He's a very reliable receiver, played both in the slot and on the outside, sure hands, and he's pretty much your average Joe. That's what you're getting. You're getting a very average route runner, very average after the catch ability. He's got your prototypical average size, 6 foot, 200 pounds. But I just like his ability to contribute on special teams, because if you're being drafted in the 6th round, you need to find a way to stick on a roster, and that is how Joe Reed will stick on a roster. And that should do it, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. Like I said, I put so much time into this, so much effort into this. So if you guys could just like the video, comment down below something you would change, that helps me out so much. And I love getting arguments. I love getting debates. So comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at Alameda_views. Follow us, the company, at TWSN on Instagram. And follow us on Twitter. But like I said, comment down below, like the video, and just get ready for more draft content. Thank you guys very much. I will see you next time.